In this video, I'm gonna teach you how to use a Room database in a web platform for a Kotlin Multiplatform. So right here I have one sample project that targets Kotlin Wasm and Android platforms, and each one of those projects actually use a Room 3 library. So here we can practically execute all CRUD operations in our app, and that same applies to a web platform as well. So even if we refresh this page, that item will still persist, and we can of course modify it and delete it as well. So stay tuned if you want to learn how to implement this on your own. If you want to implement this on the web, there are some JS-specific stuff or browser-specific stuff that you need to know and implement on your own before you can use this library in your project. And I'm gonna show you everything, so don't worry about that. Here in this project, I have practically created a KMP project that targets the Android platform as well as the Wasm.js. So you can just go to the file, then a new, and create a new project targeting Kotlin Multiplatform for all those platforms that you want. So in this case I have chose Android and web with a shared UI, of course, and you can create that project by yourself. Now when you do that, you're gonna see here two different source sets, so Wasm.js main and the JS main, as well as the web main. Right, so in this case, since I'm only targeting Wasm.js, I have removed those other source sets to make things simpler for you. Anyhow, now I'm going to show you here how I have structured and set up my project to be able to use Room library on the web as well. So if you're already familiar with the Room library, then you can skip this first part, right? Anyhow, in this common main source set, as you can see, we have the database package, we have the entity where we are defining practically our table and how our database table will look like. So here we're declaring that entity annotation, specifying the table name, declaring all different fields or properties that this table will actually have. We are also declaring the primary key that will be automatically incremented whenever we add the new item in our database as well. Then we have the DAO, which is practically an interface that specify and declares all various functions or operations that we're gonna use with our database, like reading all tasks from our database, inserting a single task, updating a single task, deleting the task, and deleting all tasks as well. After that, we also have the database. So this is the abstract database class that implements that DAO that we have already made. There are some new things that here you should be aware of, like this constructed by keyword, which is important to declare if you want to use this database on the web as well. You don't have to implement anything in here. You practically just need to use this Room database constructor as an implementation of this simple database constructor object, and then pass that object right here. So the KSP will practically generate those actual declarations for all your platforms. In this case, we are declaring only the expected declaration, right? For the Android and in this case Wasm, the KSP will automatically generate those actual implementations, so you don't have to worry about implementing any of this. And this is how practically our database package looks like in a common main with a shared source set. Then after that, we also have a DI module where we are injecting certain things in our app, like here. I have one screen. That screen contains the view model. After that, we are also injecting that DAO in this view model so that we can use those database operations and access them directly in our view model and thus in our UI. This is also a single declaration where we are declaring a singleton for our task DAO. So that task DAO is of course grabbed from the app database, but here in this app module, we are not providing that app database, right? So that app database is actually provided separately for each of those two platforms, so Android and Wasm. So here we just have the expected declaration of that coin module, and then in the Android main and the Wasm main, we have that actual declaration, right? So in this case, for the Android, of course, we are passing that bundled SQLite driver. So that's the driver for the Android target or the Android platform. We are also passing here the context, and then we are constructing that app database, okay? For the Wasm, it's a little bit different. So right now I'm using those dependencies for a coin, of course. those some basic and default dependencies for the compose, etc. And of course we have the Android X room, so room runtime, so room 3. We have room 3 compiler, we have the SQLite bundled. This one is used as a driver for our Android target, and we also have this SQLite web. And besides that we have the KSP and the room 3 plugins as well. Now in our app module gradable file, we have this room 3 declaration where we are providing the path of our database schema. So here it is. That's our path. Below that we also have those implementations. So in the Android main source set we're using Coin Android, SQLite bundled. Alright, so those two. Then in our Wasm.js main we're using that SQLite web, but also two more. So we have the SQLite Wasm and the SQLite Wasm worker. Now this worker needs to be declared by ourselves. So here I can just declare the path in this project that actually points to that worker, which is a JS function, or actually a JS file, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. And besides that, you also need to declare these two. So KSP processor for a room compiler for KSP Wasm.js and a KSP Android. There it is. And that's pretty much it, right? So these are the necessary dependencies that you're going to need if you want to target, of course, the Wasm. Nevertheless, I have already shown you the implementation of this database for the Android. Now let me show you for the Wasm. Let's finally open up the Wasm.js source set here. Let's open up that database or DI implementation. So this is the actual declaration of our database module, right? Here we are providing that app database. Now, unlike the Android where we are using that SQLite bundled or a bundled SQLite driver, here we're using the web worker SQL driver. And what's unique about it is that we need to pass our own SQLite worker, and that's actually a function which I have created right here and annotated this function with a JS-Fun annotation. This annotation practically implements annotated functions in a JavaScript and automatically imports it to the Wasm. Now this JS-Fun right here practically provides this worker, provides the path of that worker, which is located in our project. And this worker.js needs to be created by ourselves. Okay, now that's the interesting part, which I'm going to show you right now. And that worker is located right here. So you don't have to worry about this JS code at all, because I have copied this whole JS code from one of the repositories, one of the demo repositories for the room library. But don't worry, I'm gonna also publish this project on my GitHub profile so that you can download this worker on your own and just paste it in your project, so don't worry about that. But anyhow, what is this worker anyway, right? So if we check here the actual class, it says that it exposes the JavaScript worker to Kotlin. And if we click this worker, it will open up us here this Mozilla website where we can read about this worker itself. So this worker is specific for the web API, and it kind of represents the background thread from which we are launching or triggering some operations. So it's practically something like a coroutines on a dispatcher IO in Android, right? But since we are on the web platform, we need to use that worker API to launch or actually trigger those database operations, because that's a requirement in order to use, of course, the local database on the web. You can even read more about this web worker SQL driver here on this official documentation as well. So this is also the driver practically that takes the SQL commands that we are sending from our room library. So here is one graph that will explain you how the communication actually works between room library, that worker, and the underlying database as well. So the room 3 library practically takes your DAO functions and turns them into raw SQL commands, right? Then the web worker SQLite driver takes those SQL commands and sends them as messages to the web worker, which is running in the background. Then it suspends and waits for the reply, exactly like the coroutine is waiting for the network response, for example. Now, that worker.js file that I have shown you earlier receives those messages, then forwards them to the SQLite Wasm engine to execute, and then sends the result back. Now, the SQLite Wasm engine is the actual database engine, right? So it runs the SQLite or the SQL, and it reads and writes the data. After that SQLite Wasm engine, there is also one more layer, which is called the OPFS. And the OPFS is the origin private file system, right? So that's kind of a storage which is holding a physical database file, and it lives in the browser private file system. So only your website will be able to access that local database. And that's practically how the communication actually works between that Room 3 library on the web and of course the underlying database file which is managed by that OPFS. So there are certain layers that are necessary in order for the database to work on the web, unlike the Android where this whole workflow is a lot simpler, but nevertheless, let me just now go back to that Android Studio project and show you a few more things that you need to be aware of. Now, that's about this create SQLite worker function, right? So it practically points to that worker.js in that package that we are also declaring right here. And that worker.js contains some commands like open, prepare, step, and close, like opening the database, preparing the SQLite or SQL queries, sending them, binding them, and so on. So this worker.js doesn't know anything about your tables, your models, etc. So you can practically copy this whole file into your project and start working on your app without any issues. Now this package JSON right here is something similar as we have the Gradle file in our Android project, right? So it practically declares this package or this directory as a module that will be imported and used later, okay? And that's everything about this package JSON, okay? Now here in the Gradle file for that SQLite Wasm worker, we're just pointing to that same directory, nothing else. Okay, now we can close that. I'm not going to go into details about this JS, so it's not that relevant to us at this point. And that's how we are constructing our app database on the Wasm platform. So don't worry about this warning here in the Android Studio about this whole app database constructor. So that's just the ID issue and nothing else. So everything will work fine here. And practically there it is. So that's everything we need to do for our Wasm.js main. So only implement that, app database or provide that app database instance for the Wasm or a web platform, and that's it. Here we are using the same UI, so we are sharing the same UI between our platforms. And here we're just implementing that platform interface and overriding these two properties. So nothing special in here, and that's it. So this SQLite Wasm worker is indeed important, and your application will not work on the web without this. So you can just copy this from my repository and everything will work all right. Besides that, we also need this webpack config directory, which contains course headers.js, and this is also necessary for that web target, right? So if you want to target the web platform and use a Room database, you also need to, of course, have this course headers. So I'm not going to go into much details why do you need that, but it is needed for some security reasons. And yeah, you can practically copy this same file into your project without worrying too much about it right now. The last thing which I want to show you here on our Wasm or our web application is how you can check out and read your database locally, right? So for example, let me here create one more item. So let's write here Kotlin developer, for example, click add. And now if you want to click right click on this website, like you would do with any other regular website to trigger, for example, this inspect operation, on Kotlin Wasm, that's not actually possible, right? So we cannot do that. However, there is a shortcut command plus option plus I, which allows you to practically retrieve that or open up that console from here. So usually you would search here in this storage tab of your inspector, but here you will not find your database, right? So here I have a couple of other different databases and stuff, but we cannot find this specific database that is hosted on this application of ours. So how can we access this database and actually read it manually, for example? Well, I already talked about that OPFS layer, which is origin private file system, and that is the layer which practically communicates or actually uses that database file itself. So we can install this OPFS browser extension that will allow us to download that database file locally by ourselves. So if you install this extension and then press Option plus Command plus I, you will see this tab right here that allows you to download this app database, which is the exact same name that we have declared for our database when we have constructed our app database from the Wasm. So here it is, appdatabase.db, that's the same name, right? And here we can just click this download button to download this local database, so this database file. And now you may be wondering, how can we read this database? Well, there is one open source tool called SQLite browser. This website allows you to download this tool and install it on your machine. I'm gonna now launch this, so SQLite or DB browser for SQLite. We can open up that file. We can now open up our database. Let's find that in our downloads. So here it is. We can open it up, and now you will see here our table. So let me just find here, so tasks, here it is, and that tasks of course contain those three fields, so ID, name and description. And here from this browse data tab you can select your table, so tasks, and then from here you will be able to read all your database information. Like in this case we have those two fields, or three actually, so ID, then this title and description as well. And yeah, that's how you can read your or actually download and read your local database file that you already host in that OPFS on your website, right? So that's one way. And there you go. So that's how you can implement Room 3 database in a Kotlin multiplatform, targeting web and Android in this specific case. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think about this whole approach? Do you find it hard to set up the Wasm or the web platform for the database or not? And of course, don't forget to leave a like to this video, but only if you find it helpful. Thank you for watching.
I'm a legend when they